Hello and welcome to the Sports Center YouTube channel. So, big news today. Pep Guardiola, the cat's out the bag that he is staying at Man City. Am I surprised? Yes and no, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Let us know in the comments, are you surprised? Do you think it's a shock that Pep stayed? And look, predominantly over the last few seasons, every time that Pep has signed a new extension, it has always been in the month of November. I think I alluded to that on a few podcasts recently, actually. So if he was going to stay or if he was going to go, I always knew, or I always believed, should I say, that I think that something would happen this month, and true to form, Pep has announced it in the month of November. The one thing I want to jump into straight away is a 1 year. Now it's interesting because I think the last two contract extensions, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe his last two contract extensions have both been for 2 years at a time. Now, with the 1 year, is this something to do with the 115 charges? It's got to be. Now, I know Pep's flirted with the media a little bit over the last few years, and I think it was the back end of last season, I think when he was on the pitch on the basically lifting the trophy on the trophy parade, he dropped a little bit of a hint, and I think he said this could be his last season. Now, ultimately, he's decided to stay on for whatever, but the 1 year, I think, has got to be purely down to the fact that he doesn't know what's going to happen. He probably knows more than anyone what's going on in the club. Obviously, he doesn't give that much away in the media, and why would he? He'd be stupid to. But he doesn't predominantly sign 1 year contracts, so that's why I believe that the charges, the 115 charges, have got to be something to do with this. Therefore, if all the court proceedings and everything else come to a head and it all gets concluded next season, at least he can bow out saying that, oh, well, I was always going to leave at the end of next season anyway. And I think he's played that really, really well, if you ask me, because I know years ago, I think he said, regardless whatever happens, if Man City get relegated, if they get stripped of titles, yada, 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 he will always stay. But I think we all knew that deep down, and who knows what's going to happen with these charges, but deep down I think that if City do get relegated, do get a big points deduction or something along those lines, I don't think that Pep would want to tarnish his legacy and be, although he is involved in it, it's more to do with the club behind the scenes. I don't think he would want that on his legacy. So therefore, if he can bow out basically by saying that he's run his contract down, that I think suits him well. And you know what, he's got probably one of, if not the best legacies in football, not only as a player but as a manager. And look, I'm not going to ramble on this pod about how good Pep is as a manager, because we all know how good he is. I'm not one of these football fans that basically, because ultimately Pep is probably or has been for the last 5 seasons, the biggest. Man City and Pep have been the biggest rivals to my club, Liverpool. And look, do I believe that if Pep wasn't at City, potentially we would have got at least maybe another 1-2 titles? Absolutely. I think Klopp had a big influence, a big deal in Pep's drive as a manager at Man City. I think if there wasn't Klopp basically going toe for toe with him, through those seasons when there was literally a couple of points difference between them pretty much all the way through the title race, I don't think we'd be sat here now praising Pep as much as he is. And I'm not saying that Klopp single-handedly to blame for how good Pep is. Absolutely not. The guy's a phenomenon. The guy's a freak. You can tell he lives and breathes football. But ultimately, I think that Klopp's team has as good as they were. I think they pushed Man City. But what I want to do focus on, because Pep always gets tarnished with this brush, well, he's always had the best players, he's always had money, he's always had the best players, so therefore he's always got the best team. And in a way, yeah, you're absolutely right, he has. But I don't think he gets enough credit for some of his signings and also some of the talent that he's brought through at Man City. And I'm going to start with that. And one of the biggest names is Phil Foden. You know, the guy is, I'm not going to say he's world class. He's got all the potentials to be a world class player. And I was one of those fans way back when I was saying he needs to go out on loan. He needs to play regular football in order to become a better player. And fair play to Pep. We all remember he dug his heels in and he said absolutely not. He's going to stay with us. He's going to train with us. And I remember at the time, I think City had the likes of David Silva is one that springs to mind. They had him on their books. And who better player to learn off than David Silva? You know, the guy was absolutely unbelievable. So fair fucks to Pep for that. You know, he could have quite easily sent him out on loan. So there you go, kid. Go get a year in the Championship. Go have 6 months somewhere. 6 months, you know, a mid to lower team in the Premier League. But he didn't. He said, no way, this kid's staying here. And look at him now. I think he's, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy's, I think, 23, 24-year-old, something like that. He's won God knows how many titles, 4 or 5 titles, Champions League, FA Cup. It's ridiculous. Another one as well is Rico Lewis. He's going to be a really good player. In England international, he plays an array of different positions for City and for England. He's going to be a really good player. Cole Palmer is another one. He's down at Chelsea at the moment, but he's only at Chelsea basically because Cole Palmer wanted that move. He was saying to Pep, look, I'm too good to be sat on your bench, and fair play to the lad. He is far too good, and he probably wouldn't get week in, week out game time. He would probably be in and out of the team. You know, he'd have 2 starts on the bench, 2 starts, something like that. But ultimately, he said, no, I want to be playing regular first team football. But Pep brought Cole Palmer through. So again, another class talent. Aside from the talent that he's brought through the academy at City, I want to touch on some of the signings because we all know City have had the money to basically spend on whoever. And look, they have spent a lot of money on signings, but he's also been very stringent in how much he's bought. And I've got a few listed here. So, Manuel Akanji, and these are all in euros. So all these prices that I'm going to reel off at the moment are all in euros. Manuel Akanji, great player, still young, still a good talent, still promising, still to reach the peak of his game. 20 million euros. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant player. Julian Alvarez, 21 million. I think they sold him in the summer, just gone for, I could be wrong, but I'm sure it was 75 to 80 million. Again, ridiculous. World Cup winner. Do you know what I mean? World Cup winner. What more can you say? Ilkay Gundogan, not talking this time round, excuse me, 27 million quid. And look, he's come back to City now. He's not the same player after being at Barcelona than he was before. But leading up to his move to Barcelona, unbelievable player. He was one of those players that if you had to really, really appreciate football, a Paul Scholes kind of player. And look, if you really appreciate football like I do, you will appreciate players like Ilkay Gundogan back when he was at City. Great player. Ederson is another one. One of, if not the arguably the best keeper in the world. I'd say up with Alisson. And look, again, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm no bias here. I would say that Ederson is probably better with his feet distribution than Alisson is. And honestly, some of the passes that we've seen Ederson play are unbelievable. You know, he pings straight ball, like a few feet off the ground, straight into like the striker's feet. There's not many goalkeepers in the world, never mind the Premier League, that can do that. 40 million euros, unbelievable. Savinho, I know he's just come, but 25 million euros. He looks a player. He's got a long way to go to establish himself in the Premier League, but from what I've seen of him up to now, he looks a great player. And another last one that I'm going to touch on is Kyle Walker. Now, I all remember when they bought him, he was one of Pep's first signings, I believe, back in 2017. They paid 50 million, and the media went uproar about this, like £50 million for a right back. That's ridiculous. And I think did they sign Wayne Bridge at the time as well? I could be wrong. I'm sure they signed 2 fullbacks at the same time. And Kyle Walker was one of them. And his price tag was 50 million. But Pep knew what he wanted. And look at him now. We're talking, he's been at the club 8 years nearly. And he's still playing now. He's not lost any pace. I think technically he might have lost a bit of his technical abilities on the ball. But still, what a player, what a servant, and what a signing. And like I say, we can all praise Pep for his tactical ability to put a team together, to set up a team, and basically go out and win trophy after trophy after trophy. But I don't think he gets enough credit for... And he'll no doubt have a team behind him, but I'm sure that he'll spearhead the team that goes out and scouts these players. So fair play to him, and I want to give his credit for that. And who knows, he may stay on further than this year, but ultimately Pep's staying at Man City for at least another year after this season. Can't say I'm thrilled about it, because ultimately that just means that every other club has got to go that extra mile to beat them. But hey, bring on the challenger. Pep staying at City. Let us know in the comments of any City players that you can think of that Pep signed that you think kind of went under the radar, that he doesn't get enough credit for. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think about Pep staying, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Catch you later.